Well, I didn't have the energy to do a live broadcast. I wanted to do it to share with you well, anger, sadness is more sadness than anger, really, but ended up exhausted after the game. And in the end, I said, all right, let's go with a video in which, well, we express, of course, there are many mixes of feelings, but there is one that I think stands out above all, which is, well, pride for the team, right? I mean, because in the end, with the disastrous team we are this year, because we are a disastrous team, those who say they are in their best year in I don't know how long, well, we almost beat them in this final to the favorites, and of course, but it has been due to the pride and dignity of players like Jude Bellingham, like Arda Güler. Now let's talk about Arda Güler, because what they have done to this boy is unspeakable, and it's been done by Ancelotti, whom we thank. But as we said back then, Chateau, hey, thank you very much. Okay, we are very grateful. We love you a lot, but finish La Liga with dignity. And whether Real Madrid wins it or not, spoiler, very complicated. I think we are not going to win it, but maybe they will relax now. Who knows, right? But it is very difficult. As so the afternoon when La Liga ends, we say goodbye, and we are already bringing in the new one here. Um, and people, by the way, like Chouameni, I don't know if I mentioned it before, and Jude Bellingham, and of course Fede Valverde, who made a titanic effort with practically nothing at the tactical level from a team which remains unpolished. What's shocking is showing all the pride and giving these people a match, almost beating them if it weren't for two gross mistakes by the team, right? That exit from Courtois, bad, very bad. But Courtois also saved us a couple or three times, a shot from Yamal and, well, several more. And well, and Courtois is asked to criticize Courtois, but well, in that action, the truth is that it has been terrible. And let's not even mention that pass from Modric to Brahim, where Kunde was starting from 200 meters, and I don't know what Brahim was trying to do there. A kind of course, he misunderstood Modric. He thought the pass was forward, right, and not to where Brahim was, and a Modric who was also playing quite well. Therefore, that's why it is very sad, because besides the players with 45 minutes, now let's get to that. The first ones were unfortunate, right? And now let's get to that and connect it to the coach. How they then recover and start turning that around with a start to the second half, really wonderful. Well, with a trumpet call, right? I mean, yes, they press high. Watch out, because in those minutes, I have it noted here, in those very good minutes of the second half of Real Madrid, where the match already changed. Rafinha has had two, right? Rafinha made a mistake in both. In one of those counterattacks, because the team was breaking apart, we pressed reasonably well up front. We recovered two or three balls there that created two or three chances. At the start of the second half, we had that big chance from Vini, double, with a save by Cesc, and another two from Mbappe, two more from Vini, etc., right? But of course, Barca then caught you on the counter attacks and could have done a lot more damage. And if Barca scored the second one there, the game would be over. The game would be over. Well, Madrid was very good during those minutes with Mbappe, who up front revolutionized the team. Rodrigo in the first half, as my good friend Iñaki Angulo says, the Comer still hasn't appeared. And we will talk about the Rodrigo issue, a clear sale, but it's not very normal that in how much time has this man only scored one goal? I mean, it's lamentable with Rodrigo. How can he be an undisputed starter? That status is given to him by his coach after such a dreadful streak. He really shouldn't have that status. And of course, we wonder why didn't Mbappe play if we have seen him reasonably well in the second half? Why didn't he play the whole match? Why didn't we start with Vinicius, Mbappe? Maybe the story would have been different, right? I mean, it would have been the story different. Ancelotti will have to give explanations in that press conference that we will report on tomorrow in a following video. Yeah, I was going to say a bit more relaxed. Actually, I am relaxed because, well, I gave it my all during the match, and I ended with that feeling of more disappointment than anger. Of course, what happens? That what starts badly usually ends badly. Although there was a moment when we thought that we were going to win. I insist, at the end of the game with that mistake by Courtois, and at the end of extra time with that mistake, well, between one and the other, between Modric and Brahim, but you can't throw away 45 minutes the way Real Madrid did. They have thrown them away with zero work plan. I mean, you can play your third match against the underdogs and not knowing how to play them, because we didn't know how to play them in the first half. Then, due to a matter of fatigue on their part too, and cause I insist, yeah, self-respect, shame, pride of the Real Madrid players, and then a bit of desperation. We turned the situation around, but in the first half, Barca could have scored 3 in terms of chances. Look, I have the data here. The first half was lamentable. Barca shots 9-1 for Madrid, shots on target for Barca. Those shots, total shots on target for Barca 4-0 for Madrid, possession 64-36, passes double, more than double for Barca, passing accuracy 90% for Barca, 83% for Real Madrid, and well, fouls 8 or 7, right? But they were numbers like they were going to give us another beating. Important, and that's what we mean when we say that Ancelotti cannot continue coaching Real Madrid, that the cycle has ended, that it's a cycle from the textbook. Thank you very much to this gentleman, but you cannot constantly put on these performances against teams that are kryptonite for you. They will keep doing that and not having a response to it, because I don't believe that Madrid doesn't have players to bring the ball out better. In the first half was a drama, and we had a footballer who could manage it well, meaning who helped to play the ball out well. It's true that recently coming back from an injury and he's not at his best, that is Ceballos, but not even if we had Toni Kroos there, who would have done something better, of course, the German, because with Toni Kroos we have seen these flops too, huh? Everything needs to be said, and well, everything is scalable, so I don't want to repeat myself much with the president that, well, look, today with Lucas Vázquez in the first minutes, where there was an immense gap on his side, which foretold the worst, of course. Well, when you see Lucas Vázquez there, how can you not remember Florentino and the Real Madrid board for not signing a right back when it was needed? Because the best in the world, who is Carvajal, who is your starter, gets injured, and his substitute is not a right back. He is a repurposed guy who is not among the 200 best right backs in the world, right? And you have him there, and he's useful for having him there as a right back for the whole season, starter. Then when he puts Valverde there, the situation changes completely. It's true that it was already the second half that fatigue plays a role, but anyway, I think it would have been different if we saw the Uruguayan from the first minute. And well, what to say? Well, look, Mendy, I have it noted here, lasted 8 minutes, man. I mean, you put in Mendy, then Fran was good, then Fran was good. The thing is that this man, well, there are footballers he doesn't trust, and it's very obvious. It's very, very obvious, right? Mendy just messed up another guy again. Rudiger, by the way, Rudiger's moment of madness at the end, he threw ice, he threw ice. Now let's talk about the referee. He threw ice. I mean, I was even angrier than him, but you can't do that, damn it. Of course, it was because of a decision by Burgos Bengoechea of punishing a slap from Mbappe to Eric Garcia, who acted out exactly as a Real Madrid player would have in his place. And if a foul were called in our favor, in that case, we would say it's correctly called, huh? So let's not get too high and mighty there, because no. And of course, Rudiger, Vinicius injured, Rudiger injured, Mendy injured. we want to win La Liga like this, right? We want to win La Liga. Let's see how the match at Montjuic goes against the paid referees again. Another big scene. We don't know how to play them. We don't know how to play them. And look, today Madrid has recovered and has brought out that thing from the players and such. But because it was a final, the thing at Montjuic is also going to be a final, but not completely. And besides, you're going to be affected because they've already won the cup from you. So careful, huh? Many of us were saying today that we didn't want to be thrashed. Well, they scored 3 against us, but at least we scored 2, and we fought the match until the last breath. But they scored 3 goals against us again, huh? In 3 matches, these guys have already scored 12 against us compared to our 4, right? We've scored 4 against them. And who says that in the league match the same thing won't happen without that shameful start from the players? The refereeing issue, let's see. Luckily, the VAR called him on the penalty thing, which wasn't a penalty because Rafinha begins. Come on, it looks like he twists his ankle. He just starts dragging his foot without Asensio touching him. That would have. Well, maybe the agony would have ended sooner, right? Because this was in the 95th minute with 6 added, but it was clear, right? In the replay, you could see the Barcelona fans are, well, celebrating their own naturally. With the irregular registrations, it's significant that Koundé scored this goal when he was registered back then without money, right? And now with Dani Olmo, who played well for many minutes, and Pau Victor, who came in at the end. Registrations out of deadline and with government assistance. Also significant is the image of Barca's captains lifting the cup with Minister Pilar Alegria behind, who is responsible for, of education, culture, and, no, not culture, education and sports. And with the minister Montero, yes, Montero, the one from finance behind, right? Lifting the cup with the government behind. How important the government has been this year for Barca, allowing them through the CSD, the Higher Sports Council, to keep competing with 2 players who shouldn't have done so in all competitions. But, well, maybe this isn't the video for that, although we all know how Barca has been managed in recent years, especially in this season. But anyway, as I said, that finally at least the wounds. Yes, well, the penalty confuses him. He doesn't give it. And then what else has happened? For me, that blow from Rudiger drove him crazy. For me, it's something, as I said before, if it happens to us, we would be asking for it, especially when we're trying to waste time. Well, the offsides, in the end, the match in that penalty, it's just that Madrid had 2 called against them. Penalties, one for Mbappe and another for Vinicius, which were both, because I don't know about Gavi's, if he touches the ball before Mbappe, I think it was a penalty, but then they didn't show it much because there was already offside. Calling 2 offsides, they are masters at making offside. They always catch you offside. And another, also to Endrick, in a dangerous play already when they had scored the 3rd goal against us in the last minutes of the extra time. Well, that's it. Well-prepared team. They always put you offside and you don't do it to them. And in Pedri's goal, the first one, I think that's when Rudiger gets caught. I think it's there, right? And the Canarian footballer from Barca scores a goal on a pass from Lamine Yamal, who was drawing all the Real Madrid players. There were like 5 guys with him, of course. They leave a midfielder at the edge of the box with everything in his favor to shoot. Well, that, right? Watch out, because a player like Jamal Vinicius also does it with other teams. Well, it requires the opposing team, but you have to see men approaching the edge of the area, man. That might also need to be worked on, just like catching Barca players offside, which isn't worked on, just like many things, and yet we're about to win to these people. And I think I am not leaving anything out, guys. Well, like I said, let's finish this with dignity. And goodbye, Ancelotti, and end of a textbook cycle. And ask the one above, Florentino, who must be somewhat satisfied because he wanted a strong Barca, and there he has a strong Barca. Everything Florentino has been doing lately in that regard is incongruent. You get very upset about yesterday, but you secure contracts and deals for Barca, for your friend Laporta, so they can stay afloat, and then they win the finals against you This year the Super Cup with a landslide, and also the Cup of this way. This one needs to be demanded to make signings for next year. And if they don't come, well, if they don't come, you have to turn to the box, definitely. And questions need to be asked today. Iñaki made a video with which I don't completely agree, but it is very important for the Madrid supporter, the member, and especially the commitment holder to start asking Florentino questions, because they are things strange due to those inconsistencies we are talking about. Well, there we have Barca Copa Champion. Hope you liked the video. Give it a like. Please subscribe to the channel, comment and share. Look, exactly 15 minutes. See you in the next one. Bye.